leadoff base hit for Cleveland.
Wow.
Welcome back, sickos, to another episode of Necessary Roughness right here on the Bite Size Sports Network. As always, I'm your host, John Boyd, joined by my regular co-host, Ben Parker of Sports and Money KC. And we've also got Nick Winograd and Zach Keebler back on the show. You might remember these guys from last season. You saw Keebler last week as well. But this should be a fun show. We got a bunch of trades to talk about. We are representing three of the very best teams in the National Football League, and
Four.
Keebler even came with.
Four.
So this should be a good one. But you know what?
I feel like Clay Thompson.
There's a lot of there's a lot of how you doings I could throw around, but we've got a big panel. I say we just give the people what they want and talk about all the news from today. Cam Akers traded back to the Vikings from Houston.
That's the leadoff.
All your opinions in the comments.
What are we doing here?
You're leading off with Cam Akers.
I know this has been a huge topic today. I couldn't scroll through anything without seeing this. I think he was on the Pat McAfee show today. It's big. No, this obviously isn't it. But this is funny thing about this. This is the exact same trade the Vikings made for Cam Akers last season. Same picks, same conditions, similar time in the year. Goofy. But no, that's obviously the tertiary piece of news. Let's go to Davante first. We'll go around the horn here, but let's start, if I could operate this, let's start with you, Nick, since this is your division. Davante traded to the Jets for a conditional 2025 third-round pick, can turn into a second-round pick if the Jets make the Super Bowl, as far as I understand it. The Jets are taking on the whole of Davante Adams' contract. He subsequently restructured his deal to get his cap hit down to $3.21 million for this season, added 2 void years on the back of it. But, you know, he'll be seeing that money and it'll be coming out of the Jets' pocketbook. Nick, what was your – and you didn't have to sit with this news for too long before you got some of your own, but what was your first reaction to Davante to the Jets? Is that kind of where you felt he was going to end up eventually too, or did you read into the Edgar Allan Poe tweet as much as I did?
Yeah, so obviously after last night, it was kind of needed for them. I think that if they would have so the Jets are going in a completely, it's like they went on a completely new path and then they skirted and now they're going on another complete new path, and the new path is literally LeBron, Aaron Rodgers, GM, Aaron GM, whatever Aaron Rodgers wants, Woody Johnson's going to do. Like, he's literally like, I want this guy. He's like, okay. I want this guy. Okay. And it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, he's just like, he knows he has this guy for like 1 or 2 years, and that's it. Like, we made this big commitment to this Hall of Fame quarterback, and if we don't do what he wants, this is a big failure. And it can't be, right? It will be, but it can't, like, they're thinking it can't be. And, after last night, the whole firing of Robert Saleh that a lot of people were saying it shouldn't have happened, they had to win that game last night against like a division rival. This is for first place. And they still didn't get the Bills. And so this was like, I just see it as desperation. It's like, okay, we need Davante Adams. This has to happen, because if we don't get him, we're just going to, continue to go this way. We're going to be like 5-12, 6-11. It's going to be like just a completely wasted season. So they needed to go and get Davante Adams. I was seeing some rumblings that he was like the favorites were now the Bills, because we needed him. I'm Bill Smith. We need him even more. But after that loss last night, I think that Woody Johnson was literally like, "We need Davante Adams, Las Vegas. Please give him to us." And they were like, "Okay, sounds good." Made the deal. So my initial reaction was, I'm not surprised after last night, but I don't think that it changes too much. The receiver core isn't bad there. Garrett Wilson is one of the most smooth receivers I've ever seen play. And, Breece Hall, they got a great back. They got some good players. The problem is not the receivers. I didn't ever think the problem was the receivers. Everybody knows that those Jets have some great talent offensively. But, it's just the O-line and the flags really, deteriorate this whole offense. And it's happened for I don't know how long with the Jets, but with this team the Jets have, it's happened for last year, this year. You saw it yesterday with the flags. It was ridiculous. And a lot of them were BS, but a lot of them were holds. It was holding. It was, they were getting into it for no reason, 15 yards back, all this stuff. And, I don't think Davante Adams is just going to fix the flags. I really don't, because they already had top. Garrett Wilson's great. I don't, and now his catches might go down. I don't know how good this is for Garrett Wilson's trajectory. I don't know how great this is for the Jets overall. But it was definitely a move they had to make to keep themselves in the running.
Yeah, Woody Johnson is getting real cozy in the bed he made for himself, digging the hole deeper. Sounds like Mike Williams is going to be on the block now, so you kind of make that swap. I don't know if you keep doing the Lazard big slot kind of stuff. But that trio now is one with whom Rodgers is very familiar, and that was obviously important to him. Ben, as you kind of digest this deal, it's been a few hours now. What do you think this means for the Jets? Just, zeroed in on this season, and in the sense of what do you think this can do for them on the football field, outside of the obvious kind of big picture implications of just, really kind of digging their heels in on the Aaron Rodgers experience.
I don't know what kind of new version of the NFL this is, where every Tuesday we get Christmas presents, but I like it. Keep sending me that. Every Tuesday now, I love it. The Jets have been a big part of that. For the Jets specifically, this is no way to build a football team. Long range, I wouldn't do any of this. None of this really makes sense, right? But who cares? You have Aaron Rodgers, and no team ever has been in win-now mode more than the Jets are right now with Aaron Rodgers. So you really got nothing to lose. If they continue to suck this year, with or without Davante Adams on the team, and everything goes bust and Aaron Rodgers either decides to call it quits or go to somewhere else, everybody's getting fired. They're cleaning house all the way across the board. You really have nothing to lose at all here for the Davante Adams trade here. So I like it. That's where he wanted to be. I'm sure Aaron wanted him there. It will help the offense. I don't know that we'll totally fix the offense because you still have offensive line problems. And last night we saw the Jets struggle to even stop the run, so it doesn't fix everything here on the team. But I like the energy that it brings, and the Jets even seemed to have a good bit of energy last night, especially from the interim coach. So I like it. You really got nothing to lose here. I forget who said it, but yeah, owner Woody Johnson's getting real comfortable in the bed that he made for himself.
Yeah, I agree. Real quick, big shout out to my man Barber. Yes, sir. The Skull Train is rolling, and believe you me, we will get to it before this episode's up. Keebler, how do you think this affects the Raiders? And kind of the opposite of the way I framed this for Ben. What do you think this means, cosmically, for the Raiders? Outside of this season, I think. It might be a ship that sailed at this point with how well the other teams in the division are playing in the loaded AFC. Davante's gone now. It's kind of just, Max Crosby and the Blowfish over there. So what is your kind of take on where this might guide the Raiders going forward and what this move means? Kind of give us a hint at how they feel about their situation.
So before I get into that, I just wanted to make one point contrary to what Nick had said. I think this is fantastic for Garrett Wilson's trajectory because now he's facing up against the second corner instead of cornerback one. So I think he's going to get a lot better looks than he's been getting this season. But in terms for the Raiders, I think it's just Brock Bowers' season at this point.
They don't really have a whole lot else going on offensively. I mean, the defense,
Yeah.
the defense is going to be good regardless. Like it'll always be there, but offensively, Aiden O'Connell doesn't really cut it. Bowers is like I've been high on him all season. I love Brock Bowers, so hopefully he gets more looks now. But outside of that, you don't really have anyone that way. So I think that for the draft, they're definitely going to be looking at Davante replacements. With the
or quarterback.
Yeah, quarterback too. But I mean, I'd focus more on the offensive weapons because there's no point of getting a quarterback if you're throwing to janitors, essentially.
Like the Patriots.
Yeah. So I would say their biggest concern, because you could still develop Aiden O'Connell. Like, he's not terrible. He's just not good. But you got to get some weapons in there and see what you can do free agent-wise. See if you can lure anyone there with Brady now being approved as a minority owner or whatever. So they have a lot of work to do, to say the least.
I mean, I just want to go back to like my comment about Garrett, and the only reason I said that is because of how much Aaron went to Davante in Green Bay. It almost seemed as if like when you watched a Green Bay Packer game when they were clicking at their highest peak, that he would throw it to 17 every single play. Almost, it was either a run or it was the throw to Davante Adams. It was like the rarest of occasions, like MVS would like find himself open downfield. Or the tight end, I don't remember who it was at this point, but it like would like get open for a 3rd and 4. But like dang near every single throw that Aaron Rodgers made was going to Davante Adams, and that's why they were dangerous. It was like he's just that talented.
But wait, sorry to cut you off. When did Green Bay have a wide receiver 2 to the magnitude of?
No, yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. Yeah, no, I'm saying so. Like that's why I guess that's why he went to Davante every time, and then Davante kind of got tired of like this is too much pressure on me. I don't know. He wanted to be his own man. I don't know, but it's kind of weird also that he wanted to be his own man, leaves, and now they're kind of in an awkward situation where it didn't work out in the Raiders. It didn't work out for Aaron without him, and now it's like, all right, let's just do this again 5 years later. It's a little weird and a little awkward and a little, it's a little malpractice, not usually what you. But you know what? It's 2024, and this stuff always happens. It happens in the NBA. It happens in the NFL. Like if players want to play with each other, they somehow end up doing it. So it kind of gives me like D Wade, the Cavs vibes a little bit, just because it's like, is it really going to be that
Yes.
Detrimental to other teams that like Davante is? I mean, I'm watching Aaron Rodgers this year. He looked really good in the New England game. He looked really good last night, but they didn't win. And other than that, he really hasn't looked himself. I don't know what himself is right now. Like he doesn't look 2019. Okay, well, that was 5 years ago. It's like I don't really know what we're getting out of him week after week because it's not what you want if you're a Jets fan. He's not just going to like solve all. Jets fans thought that he would be like Tom Brady going to the Bucs and just win a Super Bowl, bang, no problem. There's bumps in the road. The Jets are the Jets, and that's always a factor. The Bucs were a decently ran franchise back when Tom went there. I think that's the reason that he went there. He was like, dang, like this team is kind of just a me away from being pretty good. Aaron, they were a lot away, and now he's like trying to construct the whole team together, and it's like it's kind of like LeBron. Like the Lakers haven't been good, and he's like trying to get all these guys together, and it's like it doesn't really work. He's still himself. He's an amazing player, and they like squeak in the playoffs, but they don't get it done because there's a lot better, there's a lot better constructed teams out there that beat them in the playoffs.
Yeah, I was going to say my comparison would probably be
Davante Adams,
Paul Pierce, Nets.
Paul Pierce,
my mind was going.
Yeah.
Yeah, Davante Adams ran away from home, spent the night on a park bench, and then came back the next morning. And Aaron Rodgers was so happy to see him back safe that he didn't even get in trouble for it. And they're back together again. They're having slumber parties on the Pat McAfee show. It's all roses. We're fine. Before we get to the subsequent move, which felt very reactionary at the time, frankly, I do have a question from our boy Yogi here. Thoughts on Akers? Yeah, I thought this was the blockbuster of the day. We started the show with it. Biggest news we've heard in the last 24 hours. But I think, it's probably something where they want to be able to get by without leaning on Aaron Jones as he works through this injury. I think it's more a reflection of that than it is of their thoughts on Ty Chandler. I think, I don't think he'll supplant him immediately as running back 2 when Aaron Jones is healthy. I think they just want, a reliable tandem if Jones does miss some extended time, which, if he's still questionable coming off the bye, if has another setback and he's got to spend 4 weeks on the IR, I think they're just kind of, doomsday planning for that situation. And it is a guy who there's going to be very little wasted time getting him acclimated, getting him up to speed, getting him to, yes, he does know the offense, and he knew the offense before he came here the first time from his time in LA. So just real familiar face. If Johnny Munt wasn't on the team and we had Hawkinson's injury, they'd go trade a conditional 6th for Johnny Munt like that, just because there's going to be very few growing pain back into the swing of things. So thanks for that, Yogi. Let's jump to now. Amari Cooper traded to the Bills. Amari Cooper finds his 4th team of his career, and he has yet to hit free agency. Traded again. That might be some sort of record. But this one, like I said, felt very reactionary to the Davante deal. Makes you wonder if they were maybe feeling like they could make a push for Davante themselves. Or, maybe that was never the case and this was always going to happen. But the timing was really interesting in that way. And, hey, if they're loading up, just south of us in New Jersey, where those guys play, I think they, probably felt the need to restock there. Like, we saw how their offense really started to sputter, like when Khalil Shakir missed time. And I think this just does a really good job of resetting that pecking order to where, Keon Coleman is a more natural at this stage in his career, a more natural secondary wide receiver, a Z-type receiver. Cooper can be your traditional X. He's had a little bit of the droppies in Cleveland, but I think for both of these receivers, I think they'll find a better situation and a better quarterback, and have an uptick in production in that way. But you also get Khalil Shakir, can just stick him right in the slot. He can keep doing exactly what he's done up to this point in the season. He's, probably been their foremost weapon for big stretches throughout this season. And now you add a guy who is a solid route runner, traditionally pretty steady hands, and a veteran in that wide receiver room that I think, again, does a really good job to just kind of reset that pecking order, give Josh another weapon. And it again, too, like the running game for Buffalo has been so good this season, even without James Cook for some time. Like, Ray Davis looked good. When Ty Johnson has gotten snaps, he's looked pretty sharp. So I think this was kind of the real pressure point for this offense, where they could find some improvement on the open market, and they did a great job to do so. 2025 third and a 2026 seventh. I think the Browns are also sending a 6th back.
Yep.
Something like that. But the value is kind of a wash, because this is a team that's, again, like a lot of people thought this was kind of a reset year for them with all the losses on the defensive side of the ball, and that totally makes sense. But the way the offense has been humming to this point for most of the season, I think, yeah, your best bet, because when you have Josh Allen, when you have a guy like that, it's always a championship window. So if you can add as much talent around him, raise the ceiling of that offense, and just give him some more flexibility with where he's able to spray the ball around, another reliable target. I think that's a huge get for Buffalo, and could really pay dividends if Amari Cooper can find some semblance of his former self. And a lot of the reason the production hasn't been there, again, is because he's been having Deshaun what the fuck throwing him the ball, or not throwing him the ball. So I think he's going to find a lot of success here, and I think it's going to be great for Josh Allen and the Bills. Nick, within the context of this season, what does this mean for your Buffalo Bills?
It means they're going for it. You know, it means we, as you said, it was supposed to be a little bit of a down year, right? I as a fan of a team that has a top whatever quarterback in the league, top 5, top 4, whatever, you never say to yourself like, we're gonna suck this year, even though like we're not gonna suck. You know what I mean? Like, so what I was saying is there's like James Cook and Dalton Kincaid are gonna be like the next Barry Sanders and Travis Kelce duo. That's what I was saying. I was basically thinking to myself, like, these guys are going to be so incredible. We're not going to need Diggs. Don't worry about Diggs. We're going to be fine. So that worked for 3 weeks against kind of subpar competition. And then we ran into a buzzsaw of Baltimore. And, it's not even running into a buzzsaw. They were kind of struggling at the time, but they were kind of different that night. And that was kind of like an awakening. Like, okay, so if we can't beat them at all, then we're not going to be able to win this way. Then they run into Houston. They lose by 3, and we just looked horrible on offense. Shakir was out. Then, last night, the offense is still not the way we wanted to run. It looked good. It didn't look great. We played, fine. There was a lot of mistakes. But in the grand scheme of things, you got to make a move like that to get Cooper on the team because the Jets made their move. So it's kind of just like I really don't know. I don't know if they would have made that move if the Jets didn't make their move. But yeah, anyway, it just means they're going for it. Ben, what do you think of Cooper landing with Buffalo?
Yeah, so I liked it. And listen, for the Jets and the Bills both, I like that they're seeing a weakness and a problem and trying to address it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it fixes things, maybe it doesn't, right? But they're trying. And for Buffalo especially, I think he mentioned it very well. It resets the pecking order. And I love that because I like the group of receivers Buffalo has with Dawson Knox and with Keon Coleman, with Khalil Shakir, and with Dalton Kincaid. I like that group of receivers, but none of them yet has shown the ability to step up and be elite. They're still all kind of works in progress. And by putting Amari Cooper at the top of that kind of pecking order, it allows everybody else to kind of filter on down and do their thing. So I really like that a lot.
Yeah. And as Johnny said, I mean, the fact that you get a veteran leadership type guy is so important. I mean, these guys were working with Kincaid as a second-year player. Keon is in his first few games of his career. Shakir's a third-year player. Like, Shakir is no veteran. Like, he's no season. Like, he's kind of had to like be that for these kids. But because Cook is also in his third year, but like the first year was Singletary was taking most of the carries, so it's basically a second year of being the main back. Zach, calm down.
Sorry, Brian mentioned.
Yeah. Anyway, it's really just Cook's like second year of being the main primary back. It's like these guys are so young, and Josh is like the dad. He's like, guys, like, calm down. Don't be insane. Don't be weird. Just follow my commands. And now Amari's coming, and he's like, all right, I know what to do. Like, I'll throw me the ball. I'll catch the ball. That's kind of what Josh needs. That's what Diggs was for a while. But I love it because I'm pretty sure they're the same age. And, Amari comes in, and he's not a diva. I've never seen anything of Amari Cooper where he's like, I need to get out, cryptic tweets, this team sucks, I hate it here. I've never seen any of that. I don't know if maybe behind the scenes he's saying that. I mean, anybody would have said that in Cleveland right now. It is like the worst situation you could be in other than, I don't know, maybe Carolina. So I love that it's not a diva player. I love that he's veteran. I love the upside that like if the Bills are making that type of move, he's going to be good. He's not going to be a flop. He's playing with Josh Allen. He'll get him the football, and then that really allows Keon to maybe get mentored a little bit, because who's going to mentor Keon if he's just there? He's just it's like going into a new job and there's no training. You just go do it. Just do the job. Like, that's hard to do. Like, you need some training. You need like a guy to be like, all right, this is what we do, because it's really tough. I mean, it really is tough for him, and people are hating on him already. Like, he hasn't been given a fair chance. We'll see what Keon's able to do now that Amari's there and kind of can mentor him in practice. John, I think you're on mute.
I was still muted. I totally agree with you there, Nick. Any final points on either of these moves, gentlemen, before we talk some Week 7 matchups here? Browns suck is my close argument.
Yeah, Browns suck. Nothing's changed in 25, 30 years.
I just don't think it like
nothing's changed since they scorned Bill Belichick.
Yeah,
it's a big move for the Bills. Obviously, I mean, I called Nick, and the first thing I said was, "You guys got a wide receiver one that's not a diva." That was the first thing I said.
Yeah.
So that'll be good. If the big if is if you extend him, you don't trade for a guy like that without real and giving up what was it, like a third?
Yeah.
Without the reassurance that you're gonna re-sign him. So I think that's probably in the works. Probably we'll see in the next couple of days, I assume, or whatever. If it's not deadline.
Yeah. No, he's right. He's right.
If that's the case, and then they land another big receiver in the draft, or maybe through a trade or something, I think that could be a very big move, especially for a guy like Josh. I just hope that it's not going to be one of those things where Josh gets back to that habit of staring down the one guy and then trying to force him the ball, and then we see like elevated turnovers. He's been amazing at not turning the ball over this year, and I'll give him credit for that. I was pooping on him a little bit about his high turnover, whatever. But as long as that doesn't have an uptick and Amari can bring the production that we've seen from Amari, I think that it's a good move for the Bills for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like, and another thing is, like, ever since that Joe Brady's taken over the OC, his turnovers have been down. I mean, like, I don't know how many picks that he threw with Dorsey as the coordinator last year. I know he threw 18 on the year. I don't know exactly what the numbers are, and I'll find that. But I know he has 0 picks this year, 1 fumble loss in week 1. So he has 1 turnover, and he's got no picks. And guys like Patrick Mahomes has like 6 picks, and like I'm sure he's fumbled a ton. And Rodgers has like I think 5 picks, and it's like Josh. It's not even that he's not like taking chances and making plays down the field. He still is. It's just that Joe Brady's got him so much more composed and just hand the ball off. We got Ray Davis. He's a bruiser. Hand the ball off. We got James Cook. He's going to get you 8 to 10 yards. Throw to Kincaid. He's open. He's made it a lot more simple for him. And now with the addition of Cooper, I mean, hopefully he doesn't, as Keith just said, don't stare down Cooper. And then the corner's like, dang, it's obviously going there. Just, my advice to Josh, and he's not listening and he doesn't care about me, but he's going to say, I hope he just continues to do what he's doing. And, he'll throw a few picks this year, but as long as the touchdowns come as well, I don't really care.
He's definitely listening to this show, and he definitely cares about what you got to say, man. All right.
100%. You're muted again, Johnny.
Yeah, you're muted. Johnny's muted.
Again, there's a delay on my mute button. Hey, how we doing? Yeah, Josh Allen, friend of the show. I think you're right with all that, and Josh is kind of getting to that like part of his like Mahomes arc where he started to dial it back and really just take what the defense gives him. draw out drives, matriculate down the field, but he's still got a lot of fuck you to him. Like some of those back shoulders he fit into Keon Coleman in week 4.
Yeah, they're great.
Were ridiculous as they were trying to get back in the game. Yeah, like I think that'll play with Cooper up the boundary for sure. Just having that veteran feel for where the ball is going to be, and the placement Josh can put on it, and the confidence he has in himself, but as an extension of that, his receivers to connect on that, and what he was able to do with Coleman as a rookie on some of those types of balls, I think will mesh really well with what Cooper's going to bring to the table. So totally agree there. I think it's about time we talk a little bit about this upcoming week. You guys know what my favorite matchup is. It's the two best teams in the NFC. A little bit of news on the Detroit side. Aiden Hutchinson, grotesque injury. Hate to see it. He was on a defensive player of the year type of trajectory, just wrecking shop. And it's going to be difficult for them to pivot off of that and come up with a new pass rush plan. A lot of it was predicated on how can we get Aiden Hutchinson isolated on the less favorable offensive tackle? How can we get him a one-on-one? Who can we have, as this stunter so Hutchinson can loop? How can we align him to maximize this defense? Because he was really the crux of everything they were doing with the front. They have a lot of other pieces along the front seven. Notably, as we're talking kind of news today, Aleem McNeil was just extended 4 years, $97 million. Outdoes the Deron Payne deal by a few million, if I'm not mistaken. And him next to DJ Reader, really cool D tackle pairing. And he's been pretty effective pushing the pocket as well for a guy his size throughout his career to this point. So I think they're still going to be really solid up front. You just lose that dynamism that Hutchinson brings, just having a real upper echelon pass rusher. But they've got some decent kind of fringe starter guys. If Marcus Davenport can ever stay healthy, he can make an impact. You've also got some rotational guys, Josh Paschal and Pascal, something like that. Derek Barnes, kind of a tweener type, can play a little edge, a little bit of off ball. It's still an interesting group. But the Lions will come to U.S. Bank U.S. Bank this week. And it's going to be an insane matchup. This is only, I think, the second matchup for the NFC North this season. And that's probably helped to kind of inflate these numbers, but this is far and away the best division in football through 6 weeks. The 4 best point differentials in the NFL are held by NFC North teams. The worst point differential in the division is plus 41 for the Packers. The next best collective point differential for a division is plus 21. Vikings are plus 63 through 6 weeks. They've just been really fucking good, all 4 of them. This is the first time in NFL history that the team in last place in its division through 6 weeks has had 4 wins. And the Packers are only in last for division loss. They suffered to the Vikings as they're tied with the Bears at 4-2. So going to be really fun to see, a couple of these heavyweights go at it. I think what's going to be really interesting to see for me personally, as you look at this matchup, especially if Aaron Jones is going to miss this game, what the Jets did defensively against the Vikings passing game and Justin Jefferson in particular. He had 92 yards. It's tough to say he was, clamped or something like that. But But what they did to the group of pass catchers and the amount of man coverage and single high structures they were able to play out of and get away with was striking. That's the only team really since Jefferson got here that's had any success living in any sort of single high safety structure, let alone playing as much man coverage as they did. The Texans tried to get away with some of it. They got smoked. Teams have tried to in the past. They get smoked. The Lions play just about as much man coverage as anybody in the league. I think they're only second to the Jaguars, which Jaguars, what are we doing? Stop. You don't have the dudes for it. Especially with Tyson Campbell out, they kept doing it. They're a shit show. The Lions have the guys to get away with it. Terry and Arnold and Carlton Davis, they've got some grabbies. But they're very, very tough in coverage. They stick. They're guys who are not afraid to jam. They're not afraid to press. And Aaron Glenn is willing to let them go out there and let them off the leash. So I wonder how effective they'll be able to be in man coverage against the Vikings, who won't have TJ Hawkinson back yet, might be without Aaron Jones. They're still going to be committed to running the football. It's a really good run blocking offensive line, but it's not going to be the same type of attack without Aaron Jones under in the backfield. Like we saw that in the little bit of time he missed in week 5 when it was just Ty Chandler. The running game just wasn't quite as dynamic. The screen game isn't quite as dynamic without Aaron Jones. There's a lot of nuance to the screen game that you really notice when you get a veteran running back into the mix. Even when Dalvin Cook in his last year here, even when he was dead last in the league in yards after contact over expected, yards before contact, broken tackles, all these things that kind of show you, all right, this guy not really as dynamic as he used to be, might be a little past his prime, still ridiculous in the screen game just because there's a lot of feel to it. And Aaron Jones brought that, so that's going to be difficult. Won't be something they're able to lean on. The Vikings have run a lot of screens to this point in this season, so I really wonder if without Aiden Hutchinson, if they're willing to sit back and really, really take some shots, because the protection should hold up in theory. The Vikings, even when there's a premier pass rusher on the opposite side, they have not been afraid to send, double teams on the interior, kind of hiding Ed Ingram and Garrett Bradbury and, the lesser pass blockers on the offensive line, and isolating Christian Darrisaw and Brian O'Neill. They're more than comfortable with leaving those guys on islands, whether it's Nick Bosa or, whoever the Lions are going to trot out on the edge in the absence of Aiden Hutchinson. So that could be something where, and this is a great comment, Lee, underrated comment. JJ could have 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. And this is true. JJ absolutely sunned Cam Sutton in both Lions games last season. Now Carlton Davis is a different story. He could frustrate him a little bit. I could see that. I think if you are going to ever isolate Terrion Arnold on Justin Jefferson, there's going to be a lot of laundry on that field. He is going to be put in the absolute mixer. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Carlton Davis travel with Justin Jefferson in and out of the slot. They tend to play sides, but I could see him just traveling with JJ and seeing what they can do there. Real quick on the other side, Ben Johnson versus Brian Flores. What more can you ask for? I don't think this is going to be – it's not going to be a perfect game, of course. It's not going to look like Dallas either. Brian Flores is not a coordinator who is going to allow the game to be dictated to him. He was said in his presser today, he intends to fight fire with fire, which is badass in, just as a phrase, but it's more badass in practice because he will dictate to the offense what they're able to do. If they funnel everything to the flat, I think they could get a lot of a lot of decent sized plays. Vikes might be without Blake Cashman, who wears the green dot for him. But Ivan Pace Jr. wore it last year, and he'll be healthy. So that matchup, that chess match between Ben Johnson and Brian Flores, I think is going to be the highlight of this game. Because on the other side, I think the Lions are going to be really hamstrung with Hutchinson out. And I'll be interested to see if they do lean into as much man coverage as they have to this point in the season with Justin Jefferson on the other end of it. Ben, I know you've got to get going probably before any of us do. What is your favorite Week 7 matchup as you look at the slate, and why should we be tuning in?
Yeah, honestly, you already took it right there. Vikings and Lions. That's the fun one. I expect a lot of points in this game. I'm not sold that this Lions secondary is as good in reality as statistically it's showing so far. So we'll see. Now that Hutchinson's out there to protect everything, they're gonna have to. I think you've already hinted at it. Hutchinson being out, I figure they need to go less man, go more shell zone, protect that secondary a little bit because you're just not going to be able to get the same pressure on the quarterback. But don't just sit back. This is also a chance for the defensive coordinator to get more creative with the blitzes. So instead of just relying on Hutchinson and building everything off of him, stunts, twists, whatever, now he's not there. Now you need to get more creative, a lot like Spagnuolo does with the Chiefs. So, but that is my favorite game of the week right there. That's the one I picked out 2 days ago when I was looking at the list. I think this game is going to be so much fun. I really think, man, across the board, you mentioned it, Flores versus Johnson, aces up, buddy. It does not get any better than that. That is absolutely perfect, coordinator on coordinator.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Keebler, what are you looking at for the Week 7 slate here? And why should we be tuning in to your favorite game?
All right, so the Giants play the Eagles this week.
Mm-hmm.
Saquon homecoming at MetLife.
I'm sorry. Is this a Vice interview?
Basically, yeah. I'm excited to watch a really good mid-off between the Giants and the Eagles. I think it's going to be a good one. Oh, no.
That'll be fun.
If we have one chance to ever beat the Eagles outside of like the last game of the season last year, I think this is our opportunity to.
You say that every single time.
Listen, this time it's different. We should be 4-2 right now. I don't want to hear it.
You said the same thing on Dallas. One time we're gonna get Dallas, it's gonna be tonight. And then
and it almost was, okay?
Yeah.
Anyways,
you say that every game.
If there's one time to beat the Eagles, it's this time. Jalen Hurts sucks. Daniel Jones sucks. Statistically, Daniel Jones is a top 13 quarterback, but we won't get into that one. But no, I expect a big game from Neighbors if he's back. He should be. I mean, it's been a couple weeks at this point already.
Yes,
so I'm excited to see that. What is it, Soleil and Neighbors matchup? That'll be a fun one for sure. Just because they're both like divas. So expecting a lot there. I don't know if Singletary's going to be back. He's also been out for a little bit too. So
you can't say Neighbors a diva. He just started. You don't even know.
The only problem is Andrew Thomas is out with season-ending, I think, foot surgery. So that's a problem for sure. So I think we're going to get an Evan Neal legacy game at left tackle.
Oh wow.
Aziz is a dog. Brian Burns is a dog. Yeah, I don't know. I think our defense matches up really well against their offense, except Saquon's going to go for like 500 yards and 12 touchdowns. So it'll definitely be a fun game to watch for the division rivalry aspect. And we could improve to 3-4, even though we should be improving to 5-2.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that much more so than we thought it might be is kind of anyone's division still. So with the Giants win, like, let's kind of see what happens, right?
That's what I'm
That's an
saying.
interesting one. Nick, who you got for your week 7 matchup here?
So a lot of people are going to be keyed on in 2 games. They're going to be keyed on the Super Bowl rematch at 4, and they're going to be keyed on the Sunday night game, Jets Steelers, because Davante and all that. So I'm going to go a different route. I love this Packer-Steeler game. Oh, sorry, Packer-Houston game. Packers-Houston has potential to be a really, really fun game to watch. I can't – like, when I saw that one yesterday, I was like, all right, like, Jordan Love is playing the best he's played, like, in his career. CJ and the boys need to, like, kind of – they've been up and down. Like, let's see, like, a big game from them. To do it in Lambeau would be really cool for him. I don't think he's played there yet. CJ versus that daunted Packer defense, Jordan versus that daunted Houston defense. This is gonna be a good game. I'm excited. I wish this Minnesota game and the Houston game weren't both at 1:00. I don't know why they're at 1:00, but yeah, that game is gonna be fun, and I'm really looking forward to it. And then of course the Super Bowl rematch at 4 is gonna be. I really do think that's gonna be a great game. Chiefs coming off the bye. Niners need a win, and the Sunday night game. I don't think it's a great game. The Jets and Steelers aren't great teams, but we'll see with Russ. Is he returning? Are they taking Justin Fields' job all of a sudden? That's so ridiculous.
I think you forgot to mention the NFC
first team reps
clock on Fox, Giants and Eagles. Just want to put that one there.
Well, I didn't mention because you mentioned it.
An NFC Championship preview, just marking it down early.
And then, of course, the Bills game I'm excited for because I want to see Amari in the Bills uniform. So, but nobody really cares about Bills Titans.
True. Will Levis makes football look so much harder than any NFL quarterback I've seen in my life.
I don't know why he makes it look so hard. It's just like hand the ball off, throw it, the guy's open. Like, it's not that
He doesn't want to get bored out there. He wants a challenge.
Yeah, he's like, you know what Will Levis is? Not to harp on the guy. He's like Josh Allen, but he's like not talented. He thinks he's got to do all this like ridiculous stuff, but it just like he like falls on his face while Josh is glowing in the sun. But sometimes he falls on his face. But Will Levis is like 90% fall on your face, and Josh Allen's like 10% fall on your face. But at least like he's good. Will Levis is like 10% good. That's what he is.
Will Levis just knows that he's not going to be good, so he's just a top-tier clip farmer. That's really all it is.
Yeah, he just does what he wants, Exactly. So I'm excited to see him against my team.
It's just all he's doing out there is, it's just engagement bait. He's planning for his post-career, life. But I don't know. I do think that the Titans defense will be kind of a fun test run for the Amari Cooper Bills experience, because that Titans defense has been pretty solid to this point in the year. Yeah. The front's great. Some pieces on the back end for sure. A lot of cast-offs. Quandre Diggs, Jamal Adams, Chidobe Awuzie, L'Jarius Sneed, 4 free agent additions fill up their secondary. And Tavondre Sweat's really fun to watch as well. So Bills offense versus Titans defense at least should be a pretty fun, matchup to watch.
The thing that always happens in football games is even if a defense is super, super touted, if the offense is so porous, like this, I saw this with the Jets year after year. When the offense is so bad and the defense is so great, the defense doesn't want to play for the offense because they're like, what's going to happen? We're going to get a stop, and then you guys are going to do a 3 and out. We're right back on the field. What is this? And then, like, it just, like, becomes, like, it's snowball effect. If the Titans get, like, 1 stop on Josh and the offense, now the Titans defense is like, okay, let's freaking go. Let's go win this game. But, like, if that doesn't happen and they're just, like, running them over on defense on Will Levis in the offense, then the defense for the Titans is just going to be like why are we playing for this guy? He sucks. So it really depends on if Will Levis can get something going offensively for the defense to get something going themselves, just because of like a momentum type thing.
Yeah, for sure. The Levis blunders and folly mixtape will continue until morale improves. certainly over there. I think the only team that's not susceptible to that, like human nature aspect of defense, is like the Steelers. I mean, it's just the offense is shit. So what? Go do your job. Like they keep on them. But yeah, if Russ ends up playing, that's suddenly like, for different reasons, a really interesting game to watch. Like, because I don't think that Rodgers is washed. Like, I think there's a lot of people who jump to that conclusion. I was telling Ben last week, he probably threw 2 of the greatest incomplete passes I've ever seen in my life in week 5 in London. But if it ends up being Rodgers and Wilson going at it that's a primetime game, is it not? Sunday night?
What a classic legendary matchup, yeah. Of like 20
legends. Yeah, so that, I don't know. That would be a fun game to tune into as well, yeah. All right, well, that will do it for us. Thanks to everybody in the chat who jumped in and all of you watching as well, whether you're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you tuned in from. Lee, Nate, my buddy Dave, Yogi, Barber, Anthony. There was maybe even another one or two that I can't find. But anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. If you're still here, even a bigger thanks. And stick around for like 2 more minutes so you can find out where to find all these guys and the great work they do as well. Nick, where can the people find you outside of this show?
At the Buffalo Times on Instagram. It's been for about 8 years now. No, sorry, 7 years. No, 7 years. Yeah. I was kind of just like going this way with this account this year. I've been like, I don't know, and then that happened today, and I'm like, I'm back, man. Like I am just like rocketing now because like I don't know. I feel like everybody feels in the Bills Mafia when like whatever we were doing before this trade, we're just like, yeah, we're fine, we're winning, yay. Like it's not going to do anything. But this account is about to blow up again because we're finally going for it again. So definitely hop on Buffalo Times on Instagram. It's fun. It's fun when we're good.
The Buffalo Times on Instagram. Keebler, you got your handle there. Where else can the folks find you outside of this show?
You can find me here on Twitter. That's really the only spot I'm active at. I've been bracing myself for the start of Nick's season. I'm about to renew my X Premium so that way I can really get it going.
Let's go.
That's just about it. I just want to make a closing remark that, mark my words, if we get dealt to ass from the Eagles, Matthew Stafford will be a New York Giant. That's all I'm saying.
If you get belted to the ass, you're trading for Matthew Stafford.
Then we're gonna trade for Matthew Stafford and make an all-out push.
Like at 2-5.
Yeah, but they're like 1-4, so like they're gonna rebuild anyway.
Yeah, you got to salvage. You got to salvage the talent on this roster.
A year or two while we wait for Arch Manning to do whatever he's gonna do at Texas, and just make us competitive. All I'm saying.
Sounds good.
You can mark these words because they're
this
probably
is the 4D chess that we played in New York.
Yeah.
Mark them. Ben, my friend, where can the good people at home find you outside of this show?
I've marked the words. I look forward to Stafford, all the different people. All right, look, it's a YouTube channel. The name of the channel is called Sports and Money KC. The show that we're doing, though, is called Pro Football Plus. Just put out a brand new episode an hour ago. We have a lot of fun things. We covered both the trades. We had some backstories, stories that got shoved to the back. We had Struggle Bus. A lot of fun stuff over there, 40-minute show, so go check it out. That's Pro Football Plus over on YouTube.
Sir.
Yeah, struggle bus is one of my favorite segments. If I don't have time to listen to the whole thing, I usually find that if there's a struggle bus episode, I see in the title. So definitely go check that out over at Sports and Money KC on YouTube. When I'm not here, Necessary Roughness here on Bite Size Sports, you can find all of my written work at zonecoverage.com/Vikings. I'm just in the middle of now an unsung heroes piece on, all the lesser known players on the Vikings defense. The one for the offense just came out a couple days ago, publishing twice a week over there. And then every once in a while, you might see me on some other smattering of Vikings podcasts or on Supersized Sports, which is also right here on Bite Size, and that is on Thursday nights. But until next time, guys, thanks again for tuning in. Skol Vikes. Go the other guys' teams, and catch us right back here next Tuesday at 9/8 Central. Thanks for watching.
Hey guys, thank you.
Go Bills.